Before starting this session, there are some common instructions for the students. So kindly keep your microphone off while your talk is going on. If you are having any doubt, you can write it in the chat box. We will be having discussion at the end of this talk, right? Okay. Let us move forward for the session. On behalf of Civil Engineering Department of Vishwakarma Government Engineering College, Chandkheda, I welcome you all for the today's expert lecture on artificial intelligence and machine learning in civil engineering. Our today's guest speaker for this expert talk is Mr. Anil Gupta. Welcome, Anil sir. Now I request Professor P.P. Loda to give a brief about our speaker and for today's lecture.
Thank you, Khushbu madam. And I welcome you all to this special session and Mr. Anil Gupta to the this special invited lecture on artificial intelligence and machine learning in civil engineering. Once I was just discussing with Gupta ji that there is a lot of ingress of this AIML into civil engineering, and most of the civil engineers are hesitant to understand how to deal with this ingressing and fast-moving technology into different domains of civil engineering. So the civil engineers are not developing the technology. We are the end users of this technology. This is a creation of those who are into IT and computer engineering. So the Anil Gupta ji from Noida, he has been working in Infosys since last 21 year into different levels, head telematics, connected cars, and many other portfolios he has been into at Infosys. And since 2016, he has started his own startup and working on to Magnos, which is a freelance. He's a consultant and working into this area of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things kind of domains. So I requested him to look into civil engineering, that how you could connect us to your domain. So my request he has accepted. We are thankful to Mr. Anil Gupta that he has accepted, even being an expert of computer engineering and the domains of machine learning where this technology is being created. Now we are getting connected to him directly. This is a totally different era in which we would be learning not only the hard civil engineering, but we need also to have kind of control on to soft uh, uh, domains like automated buildings, automated canal operations, automated reservoirs, then even reservoirs, the inland navigation. These things are all nowadays becoming like connected and automated, that manually we are not going and off, but things are getting done automatically. In hydrology, flood management, the uses of this GIS and the remote sensing, which we have been discussing and utilizing a bit in the introductory phase in civil engineering. We are not much into that, still into a nascent phase of understanding of remote sensing GIS. But today's lecture from Mr. Anil Gupta would definitely throw the light that how could we really take more advantage of technology into civil engineering domain. I request Mr. Anil Gupta to now take over the session, introduce himself a little, and then please connect your domain to our domain of civil engineering. I request Mr. Anil Gupta to take over the session.
So thank you, Professor Luda. First of all, it is my pleasure to talk to the college people, the final year students directly. When I was in Infosys, we used to have a program which used to connect. I mean, every weekend, what would happen? Saturdays or Sundays, either we call students to our facilities, or we go to colleges, and we would take about half a day session, that kind of thing. So it has been my passion, and I was actually anchoring this program for Chandigarh, one of the development centers. When I was there, they were within my tenure, we were able to connect almost some 20 or 30,000 students in 1 year. So it was a very good program, and now I am uh, able to recollect and rejoin those moments. Um, as far as the AI or ML, there are a lot of technologies. Of course, you would have heard about a lot of technologies which are going around, which could include AI, machine learning, IoT, drones, AAR, VR, and GIS, Mr. Durham talked about. So a lot of these new technologies are working, which have by itself, if you just talk about computer engineering or electronics for that matter, they have no use. Basically, the use is when other industries starts adopting them, the industries from mechanical, industries from manufacturing, from civil, or all of the other industries starts to adapt them. And that's what we are seeing even today. If you look at it, uh, particularly if you look at, I mean, if you talk about a particular discipline of engineering, let's say you are from civil engineering, somebody maybe from mechanical engineering, somebody from maybe from electronics engineering or electrical engineering. So it is when you go back to the work, right? It does not really, I mean, your domain or your influence does not really limit it to one particular discipline. It typically goes and spills over in other discipline by and large. So let's say look at it like, I'll give you an example. In automotives, if you look at it, right, automotives earlier we used to think that it is more of a mechanical engineering field, right? Automotive, or your cars or scooters or those kind of things. Then slowly, because there is a wiring involved, there is a lot of wiring involved and all, then their electrical engineering work started coming in automotive, right? Then because then actually, if you look at it for the last 15 20 years, um, electronics engineering work started coming. Today, if you look at it, none of these controls are actually mechanical controls. Most of them are electronics controls. There are some electronic components in our car, whether it is steering control or engineering control or any of these. At least there are 15 or 20 different electronics modules are there in the car itself. And then now slowly, when we are talking about the car as a automated car, driverless cars, I'm sure you would have heard about it. Driverless cars are more of your AI is coming into picture, ML is coming into picture, computer science is coming into picture, and those kind of things are happening. So, and this is just an example of automotive. Whether you go into industrial manufacturing or civil engineering, construction engineering, and all those things, anywhere it is a cross pollination of two or more engineering disciplines, most likely. So if you, because you are in final year and then next year you will start doing job, your 90 80 90% content would maybe related to civil engineering itself. But then you would, as you grow in your roles, maybe initially 10%, 20%, and those kind of things, you would have to start looking at what are the other disciplines you can bring in. And That's why I like Mr. Lodha's suggestion here. So how we can give that kind of flavor to you over here. I'm sure you have heard about AI or ML somewhere. A lot of people would read outside their college curriculum, and these days these technologies are even talked in schools and all. So maybe I may be just repeating what you already know, or so. So then please pardon me. Um, as far as what is the connection between IoT, AI, ML, AR, VR? Just a bit of connections I'll give you. IoT is basically nothing but Internet of Things. So it is what is it? It is today. Today, if you look at any of the thing, let's say your bridge or any of the other things, if you look at it, right, they are a passive element, right? Most of these are passive elements, whether it is remote, whether it is any of the other thing you connect. These are passive elements. How you can so passive elements cannot connect to internet, and they cannot talk over the internet by itself. So somebody like human body would have to attach them to that to these. Now what is happening with through Internet of Things is they are becoming active elements in the network, and because they are becoming active elements, they by themselves would be able to talk to each other, right? And if they are able to talk to each other, they may be able to take certain decisions by themselves where human element is not involved. So that is a brief, very high level information or intro about IoT. When it comes to machine learning, what is it? Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, right? Now, what is artificial intelligence? Basically artificial intelligence is nothing new. They started working on this technology since 1950s or 1940s itself. So we have a theorem called Alan Turing, and this Alan Turing is basically the guy who was there in 1940s. So even the thought about what is artificial intelligence started from there, and then people are talking and working on this for last 60, 70 years. And today we whatever artificial intelligence we are today, it is in since then. So what is artificial intelligence once again? Uh, Basically, if you look at any computer or any program or any of the is basically coded, right? If you write when you write a program, you code the program, you write a logic that okay, if this, then this, or do loop or repeat loop or some of this, you basically write a logic completely, and then you code it, right? So intelligence is induced. Intelligence is induced in those aspects. Whereas, in when you talk about artificial intelligence, right? Basically, you don't need to induce the intelligence. Programs by themselves starts learning. They like you go back to our childhood days, right? If you look at a kid which is 1 month or 2 months old or 1 year old, so how they are learning? They are learning by absorbing the environment. They observe okay how things are getting done, what is happening. Let's say if they sense a hot hot water, and if that water is hot, then they next time they won't touch it. So a lot of information is getting accumulated in the brain, and then they are able to absorb, and they are able to interpret, and they are able to learn, and that learning is stored in the brain, right? So that's how the kids are learning. The very small kids, or even all of us, but I'm just giving a small kids example because they are working on whiteboard, right? So that's how they are learning. So systems, when you are talking about all the systems, right? How you are able to make the system so that they are learning from the environment. absorbing from the environment, and if there is any correction required in their learning, that also they are able to absorb. That's what is artificial intelligence. Basically, you don't need to hard code the program, right? Suppose if you have written a wrong program also, system will understand that okay, it is a wrong program, and maybe I should behave in a completely different way. So that's if you get that kind of intelligence, right? That is what is artificial intelligence. And if you are in the first slide, right? I am not able to see Khushbu madam, your slide.
Slides are not visible to you, sir?
No, half, just a small part.
Okay, now this one is.
No, this is okay. 1 minute. Now it is okay. So maybe you can put in a. So first floor, first slide. Go back to first slide.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yeah. So this is what is artificial intelligence, right? So the science and engineering of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs. And so how do you make this intelligent computer programs? So it is not just about computer science which goes in. When you talk about artificial intelligence, right? It's not just related to computer science. There are a lot of different disciplines which are involved in evolution of artificial AI. And if you want to understand AI, you need to probably be aware of the contribution of these disciplines. So, for example, mathematics, right? Statistics, or your probability theory, or those kind of things also play a very, very important role in artificial intelligence. Likewise, computer science is there, philosophy is there, sociology is there. Many of these systems are involved in AI, right? So, so how AI programs are different from your regular logic programs? Table is given here, right? So this table, what it says, a program without AI can answer specific questions. So let's say if you feed A, it will always say B, and that A to B, it will. If you ask C, then it will not say what is the output of C. Specific questions, specific problems, they will be able to solve. Programming without AI, that is logic-based programming, traditional programming. And with AI, let's say if things are hazy, things are here and there, so with its learning, it would be able to say give the generic answers also, right? So those kind of differences comes in AI. And what happens is when we write the program and then there is a situation changes, so a lot of times we have to go back and modify the program. And if you look at the huge systems, there are you could have millions of lines of programs. So then you always have a danger if you touch a program. But AI systems can absorb the new modification by themselves itself. And the same way, like modification is not quite easy, and otherwise it is quite easy. I don't know. Maybe we are slow, but I will probably speak for next 25 minutes. So
computer civil engineering. So AI is already deployed in lot of other disciplines, right? If you look at all of you use Google, right? All of you use Google. All of you use Uber or Ola. All of you use let's say any of the other online systems, Amazon, Flipkart, or lot of these online applications. Pick up any of the online application, TikTok or whatever it is, you would have some element of AI or ML deployed in it, right? So, and they are performing some specific tasks, like let's say if you are searching, right? So searching, when you are doing search on Google, presenting to you, specific to your context, let's say if it is Pradeep Lodha, then this is what I have to suggest. Or if it is X person, Amit Shah, or any of the other guy. So according to that, I have to search. So that they are making a huge AI engine use in the background. And there are a lot of examples. I'm sure you would look around and you will find some AI examples around you. And not only that, like this is just online applications we have talked about within industries. People are using AI. Automated cars we are talking about. Those automated cars will use AI. So I mean, healthcare. If you talk about healthcare, there is an AI. Hence, there are applications for AI is coming. So pick up any of the sector, and in any of the sector, you would have a lot of applications of AI. And likewise, for civil engineering also, it has to have those applications, right? How do you make use of AI or these technologies which I talked about in civil engineering? And just go back to previous one slide. Previous slide only. So why civil engineering? Because no, next one, huh? Because almost 7% of the worldwide workforce, right? Almost 7% of the global workforce works for construction engineering or civil engineering work. So any 7% is a huge number, huge volume. And any change which happens, so this 7% is going to be affected with this change. Almost 15 trillion in a dollar industry. This is worldwide, and I'm sure you would know much better. Here I just got this number, but what I gather is that 25 to 30% of your cost, any project cost, and 25 to 30% is either rework or waste, which you can avoid, right? If you do the design in a right way, if you do the design in a right way, if you implement the plan properly, if it is as per the standards, lot of these things, lot of rework is required on the way. So almost 25 to 30% of the cost can be saved, and AI can help in those kind of things as well. And so this is what is this is where the AI becomes very important. Currently, civil is sort of lagging compared to other sectors. So a lot of other sectors are way ahead of in civil engineering compared to civil engineering. I would not say they are deploying the technology to their full potential. Maybe some sectors are deploying up to 20%, some 15%, 10%, 5%, and so on. And civil may be deploying only 1% of the potential of the technology. So whatever sector you consider, no sector is deploying to a full potential, and almost it is just a tip of the iceberg. Whatever examples we see, those are also just tip of the icebergs only. So there is a huge potential in next 35-40 years. We will see a lot of examples coming in and around it. But civil has to catch up, and there are some developments happening around civil also. Maybe next slide we can go. So what is artificial intelligence by itself? So let's say if you talk about intelligence itself, our intelligence, our brain system, and how do we learn and those kind of things. Typically, what do? We sense. How do we sense? Through our 5 different sensors or music sensing capabilities. So we sense, and then we comprehend. The brain comprehends. They figure it out that okay, this is what could be the information. That's how it could be, and then act. So let's say if you're touching a hot liquid, and then you have to remove your hand. So you act those kind of things. So we act, or if you have to speak up something or kick off a ball, so we act, right? So these are the 3 main factors involved in our intelligence systems, our brain systems, and that's exactly what happens in AI systems also. There are some sensing capabilities, there are some comprehending capabilities, and there are some acting capabilities. And according to that, there are different branches of AI involved. So computer vision, you might have heard of this branch, computer engineering. So computer vision is what? Face recognition you would have heard or you would know, like Facebook or even your mobiles, you would have face recognition, right? That is a sort of sensing AI technology, audio processing or things like that. Then you have comprehend. So in comprehend, what happens is natural language processing. You would use Google Translate, or let's say if you feed a document in Google, then they can do a lot of document processing and all. So that is kind of comprehending process capabilities. And then knowledge representation as another aspect, knowledge management that we call it and all. And then acting is machine learning or expert systems. So these are different systems. By these different systems by themselves have hundreds and thousands of applications for them, right? So maybe we can go to the next slide. This slide basically talks about um, what are the different reasons people, some industry is using. So some may be using to save cost, some may be using to get a more better handle of how users are using it, getting the conditional monitoring, so or remote sensing. Different industries are using for different purpose, and this graph just talks about how what are the basic purposes where people are using this AI. Next one. This slide talks about different systems. So let's say expert systems, flight tracking system. Flight tracking has been there for last 25, 30, 40 years, and it has been very well operational. So flight tracking is one aspect of expert systems, and clinical systems and so on. In expert system is one example. Natural language processing, you have speech recognition, you have Google Translate, and so on. Google Siri is there, and so on. Neural networks, we have lots and lots of applications, pattern recognition, face recognition, character recognition, and all. And then you have robotics. Robotics is being talked everywhere, including your civil engineering. There are a lot of robots you can see around. So robotics is one aspect. And fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic is what? It is being used in a lot of appliances. You would have heard of fuzzy logic machines. Fuzzy logic washing machines, the fuzzy logic refrigerator, and so on. So the fuzzy logic systems are there in that. Next slide. And this one, basically, this slide talks about what is the process of how the data artificial intelligence value chain. So what happens, how the whole system works. So your see, every time, every moment, whatever we are doing something, or even an object is doing something, they are generating millions and millions of data, right? Let's say a flight, when it goes from A to B, it generates petabytes of data or terabytes of data, right? So all that data, every second, every moment, it is generating a lot of data. What is important is to capture this data and find out what is useful in this data, process it, and then bring out useful information, and then act on this useful information. So that's what happens in artificial intelligence. And there are a lot of systems working in the background. We have, like, Google has deployed a lot of systems, Amazon has deployed, or Airbnb has deployed, or Ola, Uber, whatever these new technology companies are talking. They have deployed all of these systems. They are collecting the data either through your phone or your mobile transactions, or any other transactions, or the transactions you are doing on your this one. So all of this data is getting collected, or any of the activity you are doing on Facebook or Instagram or any of these things, Twitter. So all of this data is getting collected and getting stored somewhere, getting processed. And that's why you are able to see quick recommendations, quick applications, and so on, right? So this is what is happening in your AI value chain. Maybe you can go to the next one. Okay, so all of these technologies, when we talked about, they are being used in construction management or in assessing the building material. When you relate it to civil engineering, so or hydraulic optimization, geotechnical engineering, transport engineering. So these are some of the areas where AI and ML are already being used. You have some live examples, maybe somewhere in the world, maybe somewhere in India, they are using it. And if you look at it, construction in construction, there is modeling is one important aspect in construction, right? So let's say you make a lot of drawing. I mean, construction civil engineers, their whole life is based on drawing, right? How do you create the drawings and communicate with the other stakeholders is through drawing only. So these days you don't have to draw physical drawing or through pen and pencil. You have 2D systems available, 3D systems available, the ones which can give you complete live coverage of those. They can make look and feel how the building will look like or how the bridge will look like, how the wiring will go, electrical systems will go, plumbing systems will go, and all those things you can go and visualize even before you start putting up even a single brick. So those things are considered to be building information modeling systems. So the in those systems, of course, some amount of these AI ML is used. Construction management is a very challenging task, and construction management starts from conceptualizing how the idea will work, how what sort of requirements are there, and those kind of things, and then you come up with a design. You work on this design, and then give it to construction workers, and then from there work on the site itself. Drones are used in these slides, and a lot of these technologies are used in these systems, right? So I'll quickly walk you through the applications. Some of the applications are structural health monitoring. So like Mr. Loda was talking about, your remote sensing or GIS, GPS applications and all. So let's say you have bridges or any of the buildings or huge dams and bridges and all, and you want to see how safe they are. You want to assess how safe they are, whether any maintenance is required or proactive maintenance is required. So earlier, what used to happen is you may be sending some engineer there. he will go he will go down to the bottom of the dam, and he will do some tests and all. Now that is not required. You just put some sensors around various different places, and the sensors will keep on collecting the data. It will keep on sending the data in real time, and then with the continuous processing of data from all the sensors, you can in real time say that okay, this dam is safe, or maybe this particular part of the dam is required maintenance, and then you can go and send those engineers, and it will also say that okay, probably this particular part, this particular thing is required maintenance, so that your part is also very clear, and then you don't have to do any rework. So those kind of things it is being used. Structural engineering, self repair material, and so on and so forth. Waste management is one of the important aspects. So waste management, what happens is a lot of waste, unproductive activity happens in waste management. Sometimes waste is lying around and nobody is there to collect. Sometimes it is not. It's not being done efficiently. So there, some systems are used to look at how do you do waste management. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide, sir.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yeah. You are able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You are quite audible. It's okay.
And safety. So you in a typical site, you have thousands and thousands of workers. Workers are working in hazardous conditions, and how do you ensure the construction safety? How do you ensure that the people who are working have right set of training? They are the authorized persons who are supposed to work there. They are having their proper safety gear in, while working conditions and those kind of things. So uh, some of these challenges are constantly coming in the civil engineering. Likewise, I talked about modeling and designing the work. So, like I was reviewing some case studies where people were saying that uh, typical problem is that okay, maybe 5 or 6 teams are working in modeling and designing. Maybe some electrical team, maybe some mechanical team, maybe some plumbing team, maybe some overall architecture team, and so on. And then typically design drawings keeps on going back and forth, and still it requires a lot of rework because of each of these things. So how do you minimize that, and how do you effectively collaborate between all these teams working together? That's what also gets done through these technologies, new technologies which are coming in. And I already talked about remote coordination. Cost overrun as I mentioned, almost about 35, 25, 30%, or maybe more cost overrun is happening due to poor planning or working in anonymous conditions and so on and so forth. So how you can avoid these cost overruns through these technologies? That is one area which can work. And then rework is another aspect. So maybe you can go to next slide. So how these new technologies are, to what extent these new techs are working, remote monitoring of on sites, building information modeling, drones to monitor construction status, and so on. Robotics is how you can apply robotics is basically you can apply robotics for various construction equipments, and many of these construction equipments, if you apply, then you don't need you don't need manual labor to operate them. They by themselves can operate, and then you can free up the manual labor and so on and so forth. Radio frequency identification to track equipments, materials, and so on, and then smart sensors to track people. So these are the different ways the technologies are being used. Okay, so what is the time? So we are close to about 2 o'clock, Mr. Lodha. So
Yes.
we can go switch on to the Q&A.
Okay. Okay, that is better, I think. Directly, there are almost we are towards the end of slide, and we take up the questions. For
Can read by on their own. We can move to Q&A.
Khushbu madam, could
Yes.
you please help in
Yes.
actually what has been delivered is a computer scientist and engineer's view on AI and ML. And we were like in civil engineering. I have been working and teaching and researching topics of civil engineering since last so many years. And many times we feel kind of like confused. what you are developing, what we are using, is there any gap or kind of thing. So to bridge that gap, like we need experts from the domain of those who are creating the technology. So this kind of view, when you deliver, when Guptaji has been delivering, then we could understand that we are near or far from the technology. That is what is the intention of this lecture. So there are around 50 students in this session, and let's take up the questions. Khushbu, madam, please.
Yes. Thank you, Anil sir, for this session. There are some questions in the chat box which we will like to discuss. First is, sir, what is the scope of artificial intelligence in canal automation?
No, see, I won't be able to. Canal automation. See, basically I'm not from civil engineering, right? And whatever this I could customize, I did only some research work here. So canal automation, if you look at it, you need to look at it. What are the areas involved? What are the activities involved in canal automation, right? And so you need to break it down. You need to break it down into different set of activities. Now, for my understanding, can somebody break it down in different set of activities so that I can tell you what are the different places?
Actually, what is the canal automation is that we need to release water of exact amount. So they use sensors for the release schedules from dam into the canal. Earlier, it used to be like raising of gates and then discharging the water into canal. Now there are like in Narmada Canal, there are the Narmada Canal is 500 kilometers long and hundreds of gates installed. Head regulators are installed. Now each head regulator is like working automatically with the help of sensors, which you were talking in terms of them. So that is what is the automation here. What I perceive what you have been explaining to the reservoir operating.
Thank you, Loraji, for explaining. And I think, see, one is you have sensors involved, and you can probably automatically release the water by themselves. The next level of automation, what you could do is, let's say canal, what is it used for? It is used for agriculture, right? Agriculture needs the water at certain point of time, right? And let's say precision agriculture, you might have heard about precision agriculture, where you need water only at a certain point of time. There is no need of necessarily pushing the water. You can probably the agriculture by itself can pull the water when it is required. So let's say you have drones which are basically inspecting the field, or whatever different activities required through precision agriculture, and then it can feed into this system, canal automation system, and then based on that it can start releasing the water. So that could be the automation, right?
Yes. One Professor Timani is looking forward to a question. Timani sir, please you ask your question directly.
Yes, sir. Anil sir, good afternoon. I am Professor Ketan Timani, working in the area of geotechnics. Sir, in geotechnics, there are certain variables which contribute to the strength of the soil mass. These are called independent variables. The output is the one, say, bearing capacity or strength. Now, for identifying the relative importance, there are certain models. The well-known models is Garson model. You might have heard the word Garson. Another is Olden model. So, Garson model particularly gives the value only, the magnitude only. It does not give the direction. Whereas the Olden model gives direction as well as magnitude. So which should be considered as better model? Garson or Olden or any other model? No idea, sir. Okay.
Because I am not from civil engineering. I am not from civil engineering.
He is a man of computer AI ML.
It is based on Neural network.
No, I
It is
understand.
based on neural network.
Maybe what you could do is,
Uh-huh.
if it is, let's say, if there is a technology element involved in this question, maybe you can give me offline. You can, you can take my number and you can
Okay.
connect offline, and then I can do some research for you, and
Uh-huh.
tell you.
Okay,
But
sir.
here, it is not possible for me to give this, right?
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
But
Okay.
I definitely I can give some. I mean, let's say if I spend about 15 minutes or half an hour, I'll be able to give you some answer if it is some
Okay,
technology.
sir. Definitely, sir. I will contact you.
Yeah, thank you.
Khushbu madam, can I,
Yes, sir.
could you, yes, please.
Yes, yes, sir. So there's one question from the student side, that why is the involvement of AI is less in civil engineering as compared to others area?
So this is just how the things are evolving, right? It's not. I mean, things happen in the world the way it happens, and some sectors take lead, that they find out, okay, something is working, and then some sectors then follow. So it is nothing like civil engineering, why it is late or why it is early. There may be some other technologies where civil engineering is ahead, or so. So it is just that now people are realizing that, okay, those areas, you can also make use of those areas in civil engineering. Like as you do some research, as you do some innovation, you reach a point, and then you start looking at adjacent areas. What are the areas where you can make use of these technologies, right? So that's how this is evolved. Earlier it used to be a computer science only. Earlier it used to be applications only, and it now it is basically almost all sectors are reaching it. And civil engineering per se, this is the last area where you can do some R&D, right? Because you are playing with the, I mean, civil engineering, healthcare, all those things. Yeah, these are very, very critical systems. So unless till the technology is proven to a certain extent, then only you can apply. Other places, like let's say if your mobile applications is there, even if it crashes, doesn't have, no matter whatever what happens. But if your dam crashes, then whole lot of things happen, right?
Okay, sir. So there is one more question, that up to how much extent artificial intelligence is safe in the matter of accuracy?
Safe, SAFE, safe.
Safe.
So safety per se, first of all, none of the artificial intelligence systems will ever give you 100% of the correct answer. Never. Okay. It's like our sense, right? Sometimes we say it's not there are not two times when we give answer it is exactly the same. It may vary, and we never give 100% correct answer when we are speaking instantly. So likewise, artificial intelligence will also never give you 100% correct answer. What it could give is maybe 95%, 99%, 99.9%, 99.99%, those kind of answers. But there will always be a case where you can have some basically error. Now it depends on a lot of things, like how quickly the system is able to learn, uh, what sort of models are so it is like as I showed you in slides, value chain. You need to do a lot of things before system starts functioning. AI system starts functioning, right? And that chain requires a lot of activity. So that's where a lot of research work happens. At this point of time, I don't know whether systems have more than 95% correction accuracy as far as the civil engineering is concerned, but maybe you need to go and find out.
Khushbu madam, before you ask the next question, there is a question from Professor UR Singh, And also we are concerned about that question. It's a very common question, that what is difference between ML and AI? So what is my understanding, sir, Gupta sir, I'm explaining the question that what we perceive it as, like more sensing, the pattern recognition is the part of machine learning, and then decision making based on output is AI. Is that the kind of?
Can you open the slide number which says AI application?
Okay.
AI application. I think it is the third or fourth slide. Or not the AI applications, but the artificial intelligence introduction. Yeah.
Voice is not clear.
Earlier slide to this, previous slide.
Okay. This one?
Yeah, this one. Just give a full screen view.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you look at this AI technologies layer, no, there are 6 elements in this. Can you see all the 6 elements? So computer vision is there, audio processing is there, natural language processing is there, knowledge management is there, machine learning is there, and expert systems are there. These are 6 different systems. Machine learning is one part of AI itself. So let's say AI systems, when we talk about it, machine learning is a part of that. There are other systems also.
But there is a confusion whenever machine learning is.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to that. Basically, let's say whenever you talk about machine learning systems are AI systems, right? Now, machine learning systems, basically what they are doing is they are learning from the environment itself, machine learning. And there also you have supervised learning, unsupervised learning, you have like pattern recognition you talked about, those are deep learning systems and so on. But machine learning is the ones who are learning from the data. And they are part of the AI systems itself. Yes. Repeat your question or doubt. Nuda sir?
Yes. We could. The confusion was that the machine learning is always mentioned as a separate issue, along with AI. We couldn't really recognize the importance why the out of 6 components which you have mentioned just onto your slide, why only ML has been picked up and mentioned along with it, has been placed parallelly to AI. What is the because in all our literature, database, books. Gupta sir, voice is not that clear. Voice is not that clear yet. You are not audible. Now I think yes. No, not yet. There is some problem. Khushbu madam,
yes,
could
sir.
you listen to him?
No, he's not audible.
He is not audible. Gupta sir, you are not audible.
Now also not audible.
Yes, now audible. Okay, now audible.
Okay. So what I was saying is that is basically you in terms of applications we were talking about hundreds or 200 more than that applications, right? So basically you have AI system number of applications and ML system number of applications, maybe almost equivalent or that to that scale. So that's why AI and ML has become a kind of this one. But otherwise, AI, ML is part of AI.
Okay.
Basically, in AI, ML systems are having more set of applications right now.
Excellent. At least now we are assured that it's part of AI. Otherwise, we've been really okay. Next question, Khushbu madam, please.
Yes. So there is one request from the student that can you please give us some more detail about fuzzy logic?
Fuzzy logic. I also have to understand, and actually, it's nothing like let's say, I'll give you an example. What is fuzzy logic? How it works and all that is we don't have time. Let's say if you say switch on the geyser, is the water is cold, right? When you say switch on the geyser when water is cold. Now, what should be the temperature of water?
It should be like cold means 5 degrees or 10 degrees or like 20.
So basically, there is a range, right? There is a range. There is no one particular number.
Point. Yeah, exactly. Different for different people.
Yeah, it could be different for different people, but it's a range.
Yes.
So you cannot say that that 5 degree the water is cold and 5.5 degree water is normal, or so on, right? So basically, in that range, when you have to work, you have systems which are working in that range. That's what is called fuzzy logic, where logic is not you cannot really write down the logic. It is fuzzy.
Okay. Khushbu madam, could we take next one, please?
Yes, sir, sure. Sir, what will be the efficiency of AI in big data handling of a large project?
Okay. So large, I don't know what is large. Tell me what is large.
In civil engineering, sir, we consider it when we are dealing with the land use of whole state or country. Then we consider it as large, and we are working on a small area. Then we call it small, like only few square kilometers of land.
No,
It's
I got it. See, when we talk about AI or ML, we don't talk about the size in the sense of physical size.
Right.
We talk in sense of the data generated.
Okay.
How much data system is generating? So it may be that you have a one big size RAM kilometers long, but that is generating megabytes of data or kilobytes of data per minute, right? Whereas you might have a small your healthcare device or some other device or car which is generating 1,000 times or million times more data than your dam. Right. So, and then this car data or even a plane, I told you, that when it goes from point A to point B, it generates terabytes of data, which is very huge. I'm sure the amount of data that is generated by this plane in one trip is should be able to accommodate your whatever size you are dealing with. And then here we are talking about millions of trips or thousands of trips per day in the world, around the world.
That is the point of conflict between civil engineering and computer engineering. The size we consider as physical and you into terabytes. Could we take one more question, Anil sir?
Yes, sir. Any more questions? Any questions?
So, Khushbu madam, please quickly, could we take one more?
Yes. Sir, there's one question from student that how AI will help in project planning and construction. Can you just give some idea how it will connect?
So I left these slides. So next set of slide, wherever I stop. So like preventing cost overrun, doing planning by itself. How do you coordinate with the team? And all those things are actually mentioned in this. So maybe you can forward the slides to them. And here it is mentioned how it will work in the project management and all, risk mitigation, and so on.
Yes. Sure. I will forward the content to the students at later stage. Okay. Then, Khushbu madam, if you permit, if there are no, I think it's 2:15 already, Anil sir. So we should conclude the session. More than 1 hour, it's going up.
No problem for me.
Okay, okay. Then last question, Khushbu madam, please take up that.
Sir, can you give some example for machine learning? Like now we have understood that machine learning is a part of.
Okay. I mean, it may not be related to civil engineering, but I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. How many of you do shopping from Amazon or Flipkart?
I think everyone.
Everyone. Now, you may be doing, after 2 or 3 transactions, once you do shopping, then next time, maybe 4th transaction or 5th transaction onwards, it will start pushing you that, okay, you may be interested in this project or that project or that project, that particular product or this product or that product, right?
Right.
In your 4th transaction, 5th transaction, and so on.
Yes.
Right? So how does it do that?
So
Okay, so basically it is collecting all the data, your past data, what sort of products you purchased, what sort of products you normally purchase, and so on. System is learning a lot about you, right? One interesting case study is there in this. I'm sure all of you will enjoy, though we may not like it, but anyway, it is interesting. So I'll talk about it. Have you heard of Target? Target store? Target stores are like in our Big Bazaar or any of these chains are there. Target store is there around the world. And Target collects all these data, this one. And when you talk about US or other Western culture, it's okay to get pregnant even without marriage and so on. So what happens is Target was collecting all these data, and one fine day they sent a product recommendation to one house that, okay, you may be interested in this product, and that product was related to some pregnancy related. Okay.
Yeah.
Now nobody at home knows anything about pregnancy, who is pregnant, whatever it is. So they just said that, okay, this is what is it? Why are you sending? My daughter is just 17, 18 years age, and there is nobody pregnant here. The house owner got really angry, and he went and sued Target. Target they also found out why they actually sent it. So then what they went back and checked, and then what they found is, let's say if a person is doing so and so products purchasing, right, then most likely they will purchase that kind of product also. So it was just maybe first trimester or before first trimester, and they figured it out. And then when they did this, when the family did the testing of pregnancy test, they figured out that, okay, yes, this was the case. So basically, Target found out about this case before anybody else through their data, and that's what is machine learning. I mean, this is just one example I have given. This is a very popular example in machine learning, but these kind of data, these kind of predictions are happening anywhere and everywhere. Like whether you look at Netflix, a lot of you are using, or Amazon Prime, or a lot of these things. So everywhere, wherever we give preferences or so on.
So what you mean to say is that machine learning and system learning is same.
System. Let's not complicate there. Machine learning is machine learning. Don't complicate the term.
Many times, machine learning, people say that machine learning means this, what is there inside, what the softwares are learning, what the algorithms are understanding, what we are doing. So that is what is the machine learning. So system,
okay, I'll tell you what is machine learning. Machine learning. Let's say I'm carrying this mobile, right? Okay,
right.
Or any other system. Typically, maybe 10% of the processing, whatever is happening, is within this mobile. 90% of the processing is happening somewhere. Okay. The mobile is also a system, but mobile is not a system by itself. Mobile, all what this mobile is doing is it is collecting the data and pushing the data somewhere in the world, maybe Antarctica or Ireland or US or somewhere. It is pushing the data, right?
Right.
So machine learning and this not only my mobile, your mobile, is all the everybody who is using mobile, their data is getting pushed to the same place, all different sites. So machine learning is happening there. It's not happening in our mobile or anywhere else or this one, that one. Somewhere in the third world, machine learning is happening.
Okay. Okay.
It's happening here also, but those are like at a very small level. Even in the mobile, it may be happening, but typically because things are connected and all, the system, you never know where this machine learning is happening.
Okay, okay. Anil, I think with this, it's a great, excellent interaction with you and great deep understanding for civil engineering about what the machine learning and AI is. So I hope that my students also received the same kind of information which I was receiving from you. Frankly speaking, I learned a lot, and it was joy listening to your views on AI and ML. Thank you very much for joining and disseminating the knowledge with the civil engineering students of Vishwakarma Government Engineering College, Ahmedabad. Thank you very much, Anil.
Thank you. I also enjoyed, and I would be happy to conduct any other sessions anywhere. For maybe if you want to do this for your other
Yes.
branches also, I would be happy to do that.
Definitely, definitely. We'll take advantage of expertise on this. Thank you very much. And I request all the students to go to MS to appear for the quiz. I request all the students to go to MS Teams to appear for the quiz. Thank you, Anil. And we are switching now.
Should I log off?
Yeah, yeah.